Fleet Admiral Jax of the Zelnar Confederation stared at the dead control panel before him. The massive command ship's emergency lights cast an eerie red glow across the bridge. Around him, his officers worked in silent desperation, their scaled fingers moving quickly across backup systems that offered little hope. "Status report," Jax demanded, his voice steady despite the catastrophe. "All ships reporting critical power failure, Admiral," First Officer Vereen said. "The jump calculation error has drained our primary and secondary cores. Life support running on reserves, approximately 6 standard cycles before failure begins across the fleet." Jax's inner eyelids closed briefly. 6 cycles to save over 40,000 of his people spread across 200 ships, the last free citizens of the Zelnar Confederation. "Where are we?" he asked. "Unknown system, yellow star, 8 planets. We're near the 4th planet's orbit. Preliminary scans show the 3rd planet has a developing civilization." Jax looked at the view screen showing a beautiful blue-green world. "Primitive. Pre-interstellar," Vereen confirmed, "but showing unusual technological advancement patterns." Jax considered their options. The hegemony would be tracking them. They needed power, and soon. "Send a distress signal. Limited information only." Captain Lisa Carter of the United Earth Defense Force vessel UES Horizon zipped her uniform jacket and strode onto the bridge. "Report," she said, moving to the command chair. Lieutenant Greg Mason looked up from his station. "Ma'am, UEDF command reports multiple unidentified objects appeared at the edge of Mars orbit 20 minutes ago. Over 200 signatures. They're just sitting there." Lisa frowned. 200. Configuration. Appears to be vessels of various sizes. No movement since arrival. No energy readings except minimal life support. Defensive status. No weapons powered. They appear completely disabled. Communications Officer Natalie Wu turned from her station. "Captain, we're receiving a signal. Audio only. It's not in any Earth language." "Put it through," Lisa ordered. The bridge speakers emitted a series of complex tones and clicks. "Computer analysis suggests it's a mathematical pattern," Natalie said. "Likely a first contact protocol." Lisa stared at the main view screen. "Send our first contact response package and notify command we're moving to investigate. Tactical alert." 3 hours later, the horizon approached the alien fleet. The sight was breathtaking. Vessels of various designs, some nearly 4 kilometers long, drifted in precise formation despite their powerless state. "My God," whispered Navigator Frank Powell. "It's an entire armada." Lisa studied the massive ships. "Any response to our transmissions?" "Yes, Captain," Natalie replied. "They've established basic communication protocols. They identify themselves as the Zelnar Confederation. They're requesting emergency assistance." "What kind of assistance?" "Power. Their ships are running on emergency reserves after some kind of propulsion failure." Chief Engineer Ben Lewis shook his head. "Captain, even if we wanted to help, we couldn't power ships that size." Lisa thought for a moment. "Open a channel." The main screen flickered, revealing a tall reptilian being with iridescent scales and large golden eyes. Its uniform bore elaborate insignia. "I am Fleet Admiral Jax of the Zelnar Confederation," it said through the translation system. "To whom am I speaking?" "Captain Lisa Carter, United Earth Defense Force. We've received your distress call." "Captain Carter, my fleet is stranded with critical power failures. We require assistance or 40,000 lives will be lost." Lisa kept her expression neutral. "Admiral, we're willing to help, but our technology may not be compatible with yours." The alien's eyes widened slightly. "You offer assistance without conditions?" "Of course, that's standard procedure for any distress call." The bridge crew of aliens behind Jax exchanged glances of clear surprise. "In our experience, Captain," Jax said slowly, "finding a defenseless fleet is usually seen as an opportunity, not a rescue mission." Lisa smiled. Then you'll find humans operate differently, Admiral. We're sending a team to assess how we can help." As the communication ended, Lisa turned to her crew. "Contact Earth. Tell them we're going to need every engineer they can spare. And fast." The emergency meeting of the United Earth Council stretched into its 5th hour. Representatives from every major nation sat around the circular table, faces tense as they debated the alien armada now sitting helpless in Earth's solar system. "This could be a trap," said Defense Minister Alvarez, tapping her stylus against the table. 200 warships appear out of nowhere, claim to be disabled, and ask for our help. Convenient. President Chen shook her head. "Our scans confirm their power systems are genuinely failing. This isn't a deception." "Even so," replied the Russian representative, "helping them means revealing our technological capabilities to an unknown species." The room fell silent as Dr. Olivia Martinez entered. The head of Earth's Advanced Engineering Division looked exhausted but determined. "The situation is critical," she said without preamble. "The Zelnar vessels have approximately 4 days before life support fails completely. We've analyzed their power systems, and we can help them." "How?" asked President Chen. "Their technology is more advanced than ours in many ways, but their approach to engineering is entirely different. They rely on complex quantum systems while we use more practical methods. Engineer Jack Wilson has designed a power transfer system that can recharge their cores using our fusion reactors." The council murmured among themselves. "And what do these aliens offer in return?" asked the Chinese representative. Dr. Martinez smiled slightly. "They've already begun sharing navigational data of nearby star systems, information that would take us centuries to gather ourselves." Jack Wilson wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked inside the cramped engineering bay of the Zelnar command ship. Beside him, the alien engineer Trev watched with fascination. "You're using physical connectors?" Trev asked through the translator. "We abandoned such methods centuries ago." Jack shrugged. "Sometimes the old ways work best. Your quantum links are impressive, but they're also why you can't draw power from conventional sources." Trev's scales shifted color slightly. A sign Jack had learned indicated surprise. "Fascinating. Your species approaches problems from unexpected angles." Jack connected another coupling. "That's because we're still figuring things out. You've had this technology for so long you only see one way to use it." Across the massive ship, dozens of human engineers worked alongside Zelnar technicians. What had begun as an emergency response was turning into the greatest technological exchange in human history. On the UES horizon, Captain Lisa Carter sat across from Admiral Jax in the ship's conference room. "Your people work with remarkable efficiency," Jax said. "We estimated at least 20 cycles to restore minimal power. Your engineer Wilson believes the first ships will be operational in 3 of your days." Lisa nodded. "Humans are good at improvising. A valuable trait." Jax's expression turned grave. "Captain, there is something you should know. Our presence here puts your world in danger." Lisa leaned forward. "How so?" "We are refugees, the last free fleet of our confederation. We fled from a force called the Hegemony, a collective of species that conquers and absorbs others. They were pursuing us when our jump drive malfunctioned. And they might follow you here," Lisa concluded. "They will follow us here," Jax corrected. "It is only a matter of time. Perhaps years, perhaps less." Lisa considered this information. "Then we should prepare. Tell me everything about this hegemony." Jax studied her. "Most species would demand our immediate departure upon learning this. Running from trouble only gives it time to grow," Lisa replied. "Earth has faced threats before. We'll face this one too." As they spoke, on the engineering deck, Jack Wilson made a breakthrough. The first power transfer to a Zelnar vessel began, lights flickering on across the alien ship for the first time in days. Human ingenuity had accomplished what the aliens thought impossible. The rescue had begun. Intelligence Officer Daniel Brooks studied the data scrolling across his screen with growing concern. For 2 weeks, he had been analyzing the information shared by the Zelnar, cross-referencing historical accounts and star charts. The picture emerging was troubling. He forwarded his findings to Captain Lisa Carter with an urgent flag. "Captain," Daniel said when Lisa entered the secure briefing room, "the Zelnar haven't told us everything." Lisa took a seat. "Explain." Daniel displayed a galactic map. "This shows the expansion of the hegemony over the past century. The Zelnar described them as conquerors, but that's an understatement. They're methodical exterminators of independence. The Zelnar were hiding this. Not hiding, exactly. Just selective in their sharing. The hegemony doesn't just defeat civilizations, they absorb them completely. Technology, resources, and people all become assets of the collective." Lisa frowned. Why would the Zelnar withhold this? Fear, most likely. They'd worried we might turn them away if we knew the full danger. In the main communications center, Specialist Amy Peterson had been assigned as liaison to the Zelnar cultural team. She had developed a rapport with Zelnar historian Mev, whose role was documenting their people's journey. "Your translation skills have improved greatly," Mev noted as they reviewed historical documents together. Amy smiled. "Your language patterns are becoming more familiar to me." Mev hesitated before activating a private data crystal. "There is something I wish to share with you, though I do so without official permission." The display showed images of beautiful cities with soaring crystalline towers and verdant parks. "This was Zelnar Prime, our homeworld," Mev said softly. "Now it serves the hegemony." Amy watched as subsequent images showed those same cities transformed. Utilitarian, uniform, stripped of cultural identifiers. "What happened to your people?" "Those who survived the resistance were processed. Genetic modification, neural implants. They are still physically Zelnar, but their minds serve the hegemony now. Their children know no other life." "And your fleet?" "We are the last free Zelnar. 17 colony ships escaped during the final assault, along with what military vessels could be gathered. We have been running for 3 years." Amy placed her hand near Mev's in a gesture of solidarity. "Why didn't Admiral Jax share this information officially?" "The hegemony is methodical. They do not tolerate interference. Any world that shelters us becomes a target. Jax feared your people would reject us if you knew the full truth." Later that day, Earth's Security Council received the complete briefing. The room was silent as the implications sank in. "Let me be clear," President Chen said finally. "By helping the Zelnar, we've potentially marked Earth for conquest by this hegemony." "Yes, Madam President," Lisa replied. "Though Daniel's analysis suggests we would have been targeted eventually regardless. The hegemony expands continuously." Defense Minister Alvarez leaned forward. "What are our options?" "We could ask the Zelnar to leave once repairs are complete," suggested the European representative. Dr. Martinez shook her head. "That wouldn't save us. The hegemony would still follow their trail here. And without the technological exchange we're developing with the Zelnar, we'd be even less prepared." "How long until the hegemony could reach Earth?" asked Chen. Lisa consulted her notes. "The Zelnar estimate anywhere from 6 months to 2 years, depending on how quickly their pursuit ships can calculate our location." President Chen looked around the table. "Then we have a choice to make. Do we continue sheltering refugees at great risk to ourselves, or do we abandon them to save our own skins?" The room fell quiet again until Dr. Martinez spoke. "The Zelnar technology is advancing our own capabilities dramatically. If we work together, we might develop defenses neither of us could create alone." President Chen nodded slowly. "Then our course is set. We will continue the rescue operation, but we'll also begin preparing Earth for what's coming." As the meeting adjourned, Lisa received a message from Jack Wilson. The first Zelnar battleship had just been restored to full power. The race against time had begun. Dr. Olivia Martinez couldn't help but laugh at the expression on the Zelnar engineer's face. The alien scales had shifted to a bright blue color that she had learned indicated extreme surprise. "You connected the power core directly to the propulsion system?" Trev asked, his translator barely keeping up with his rapid speech. "Without quantum buffers or reality anchors." Jack Wilson nodded as he wiped engine grease from his hands. "Yep. Your system had too many redundancies. Sometimes the simplest solution works best." "But that's not possible," Trev insisted, examining the modified engine core. "The power fluctuations should have caused a cascade failure." "Would have, except we installed these," Jack explained, pointing to a row of ordinary capacitors arranged in a novel configuration. "They're just standard Earth tech, but arranged to create a dampening field that stabilizes the energy flow." Dr. Martinez watched as 3 more Zelnar engineers gathered around the modified system, their scales all shifting to various shades of blue and green. For 3 weeks now, human engineers had been working alongside the aliens, and this pattern had repeated dozens of times. The Zelnar, with their centuries-advanced technology, were continually baffled by humanity's unorthodox approaches. "Your species thinks differently," Admiral Jack said, joining Dr. Martinez at the observation window. "Where we see impossibility, you see opportunity." "Necessity is the mother of invention," she replied. "Humans have always had to make do with limited resources. This is the 12th ship your team has restored to full power. At this rate, the entire fleet will be operational within weeks, not months. And we're learning from you as well," Olivia said. "Your quantum calculation engines have already advanced our computing technology by decades." In the nearby testing chamber, another breakthrough was unfolding. A team led by engineer Sam Rivera had adapted Zelnar shield technology to work with Earth's power systems. "Fire the test laser again," Sam instructed. "Increase power by 20%. The beam struck the shield prototype, which shimmered but held steady. "Incredible," said Zelnar defense specialist Frill. "Your power source is crude compared to ours, yet it's generating nearly equivalent protection." Sam smiled. "That's because we're not trying to create a perfect quantum barrier like yours. This is a hybrid system, part deflection, part absorption, less elegant but more adaptable, and requiring 40% less energy to maintain," Vril noted, checking the readings. "This could be applied to our vessels as well." Across the joint Earth-Zelnar research facility, similar scenes played out. Human approaches to engineering, practical, sometimes crude, but remarkably effective, were being combined with the Zelnar's advanced theoretical knowledge to create technologies neither civilization could have developed alone. Captain Lisa Carter joined Admiral Jax on the observation deck of the newly operational Zelnar command ship. "The Stellar Vanguard is the first vessel to be fully restored," Jax said with pride. "Thanks to your engineer Wilson's innovations, it's actually operating at 118% of its original power efficiency." Lisa watched as the massive ship's engines glowed with a steady blue light. "How many more vessels need work?" 87. "But with the assembly line approach your Dr. Martinez established, we're completing 3 ships daily now." Lisa nodded. "Good, because our deep space monitors detected something yesterday." She handed Jax a datapad. "Unusual gravitational distortions at the edge of the Kuiper belt. Your scientists confirmed they match hegemony scout ship signatures." Jax's scales darkened. "They found us sooner than expected." "Which means we need to accelerate our timeline," Lisa said. "Earth's defense fleet is being retrofitted with the hybrid shield technology. The question is, will the Zelnar ships fight alongside us?" "You've saved my people, Captain Carter. We will defend yours with everything we have." Jax touched a control panel, and a holographic display appeared showing the modified Zelnar fleet. "But we should prepare for the possibility that it won't be enough. The hegemony doesn't send scouts unless the main battle group is close behind." Lisa watched as Earth technicians and Zelnar engineers worked side by side below them, racing against time. "Then we'd better keep surprising them," she said. The alarm blared across all Earth defense stations. Lisa Carter had just finished her morning briefing when the emergency signal sent her running to the command center. "Status report," she demanded, entering the room. Lieutenant Greg Mason pointed to the main display. Multiple ships just appeared near Neptune's orbit. 7 vessels, hegemony configuration according to Zelnar records. Alert Admiral Jax. Sound General Quarters. Within minutes, the view screen showed Admiral Jax joining from the stellar vanguard. His scales had darkened to a deep blue. "Scout Force," he confirmed grimly. "A standard hegemony tactic. They send an advance team to assess defenses before the main battle group arrives." "How long do we have?" Lisa asked. "If they follow standard protocol, the main fleet will be approximately 2 weeks behind. These scouts will observe, then attempt to establish a beachhead." President Chen joined the emergency conference from Earth Command. "Captain Carter, what are our options?" Lisa studied the tactical display. "We have 26 Zelnar ships at full power and 17 Earth vessels with upgraded shields. The scouts outnumber us in firepower, but they don't know about our modifications." "We should strike first," suggested Commander Eric Johnson, tactical officer of the UES Horizon. "Use our speed to hit them before they can report back." Jax's scales rippled with concern. The hegemony technology is significantly advanced. A direct confrontation would be risky. "Which is exactly why they won't expect it," Eric countered. "They'll anticipate us hiding behind Earth's defenses, not launching an immediate attack." Lisa considered both perspectives. A surprise attack gives us our best chance to prevent them from sending detailed scans back to their main fleet. We need that advantage. 12 hours later, a joint Earth-Zelnar strike force moved into position behind Jupiter's moon Callisto. 6 human ships led by the UES Horizon formed the vanguard, with 8 Zelnar vessels providing heavy support. On the Horizon's bridge, Commander Eric Johnson reviewed the attack plan one final time. "The key is speed," he told the assembled captains via secure channel. "Our modified engines give us a 28% velocity advantage over standard hegemony scouts. We hit them fast, disable their communication arrays first, then focus on propulsion systems." Admiral Jax spoke from the stellar vanguard. "The hegemony relies heavily on automated defense systems. They won't expect the irregular attack patterns human pilots are capable of." Lisa nodded. "All ships, final weapons check. Launch in 5 minutes." As the fleet prepared, Sam Rivera made last-minute adjustments to the Horizon's shield generators. "Captain, I've rerouted auxiliary power to the forward shields. They'll hold against 2, maybe 3 direct hits from hegemony weapons." "Let's hope we don't need to test that," Lisa replied. The fleet moved out from behind Callisto, accelerating rapidly toward the hegemony position. For several minutes, the enemy showed no reaction, just as Jax had predicted. The hegemony was so confident in their superiority, they hadn't expected an ambush. The first shots came from Earth vessels, modified energy weapons based on Zelnar designs, striking the lead hegemony ship's communication array. The enemy vessels immediately began evasive maneuvers, but the joint fleet had achieved complete surprise. "They're trying to regroup," Eric reported. "Targeting patterns suggest they're protecting their command ship." "All vessels, execute attack pattern Delta," Lisa ordered. The human ships broke formation, attacking from multiple vectors in a chaotic pattern no computer could easily predict. The Zelnar vessels provided coordinated fire support, their shots precisely timed with the human attack runs. On the hegemony command ship, a tall, gray-skinned figure watched with growing alarm. Supreme Scout Trazil had participated in dozens of first-contact subjugations, but never had he seen such coordination between 2 different species, and never had a pre-FTL civilization moved with such tactical precision. "The primitives should not have this capability," he hissed to his second. "Something is wrong." "The Zelnar have enhanced their technology," his officer replied. "We must report to the Dominance Fleet immediately." "No," Trazil decided. "We must assess this fully. Countermeasures will." His words were cut short as the Horizon executed a maneuver that should have been impossible, diving beneath his vessel's shields and firing directly at the engine core. The battle lasted just 22 minutes. 5 hegemony vessels destroyed, 2 disabled. The Earth's Zelnar fleet had suffered damage to 4 ships, but no losses. The mood in Earth's central command bunker was tense. Holographic displays showed the approaching hegemony fleet, 43 warships detected so far, with more emerging from faster-than-light travel every hour. Their main battle group will reach Mars orbit in approximately 36 hours, Admiral Jax reported. His scales had faded to a dull gray, a sign of deep concern. This force is 3 times larger than we anticipated. President Chen looked around the table at Earth's military leaders and their Zelmar counterparts. Give me our current defensive capability. General Harris pulled up the inventory. 32 Zelnar ships at full combat readiness, 23 Earth vessels with upgraded shields and weapons, planetary defense grid at 90% completion. Not enough, Admiral Jax said quietly. Even with our combined forces, the hegemony's technological advantage remains significant. Their flagship alone carries enough firepower to overcome planetary defenses. Lisa Carter had been silent, studying the tactical displays. Now she spoke up. What if we don't try to match their firepower? All eyes turned to her. Explain, Captain, President Chen said. Lisa moved to the main display. The hegemony has conquered countless worlds because they follow a predictable pattern. They overwhelm with superior technology, forcing enemies to surrender or be destroyed. She manipulated the display to show the solar system. But what if we fight in a way they've never encountered? Not a conventional defense of Earth, but a distributed battle across the entire system. Admiral Jax's scales shifted to a lighter shade. You suggest abandoning standard defensive formations. I suggest making them fight on our terms, not theirs. Lisa highlighted various points throughout the solar system. We position our forces here, and here. We use the asteroid belt for cover. We place automated weapons platforms in unusual orbits. Jack Wilson, who had been called in as a technical advisor, nodded enthusiastically. The hybrid drives we developed give our ships maneuverability the hegemony won't expect. We can use Jupiter's gravity well to slingshot attacks they can't calculate. And most importantly, Lisa continued, we don't try to protect Earth directly. That's what they'll expect. Instead, we draw them into a series of smaller engagements designed to separate their fleet. Admiral Jax studied the proposed battle plan. This strategy, it defies conventional space warfare doctrine. The hegemony computers will struggle to predict these movements. Exactly, Lisa said. They rely on battle computers that analyze standard tactics. Our approach will force their commanders to make decisions without computational assistance. General Harris frowned. It's incredibly risky. If we fail, Earth is completely exposed. We're already outgunned, Lisa replied. A conventional defense means certain defeat. This at least gives us a fighting chance. Dr. Martinez, who had been silent until now, spoke up. There's one more thing we could try. She pulled up schematics for the Zelnar engines. The power modifications we made to your ships created an unexpected side effect. When pushed beyond normal parameters, the drives generate a disruption field that interferes with quantum systems. Like the ones that power hegemony weapons, Jack added, catching on immediately. Precisely. It's not powerful enough to disable their ships completely, but it could temporarily blind their targeting systems. Admiral Jax stared at the schematic. You want to intentionally overload our drive cores. That could destroy our own vessels. Not if we modify the containment fields, Jack explained. It's risky, but possible. President Chen looked around the room. This plan requires perfect coordination between our forces. Can it be done? Lisa nodded. We've been training together for weeks now. Our crews understand each other's capabilities. The president was quiet for a long moment. The survival of both our species depends on this battle. She turned to Admiral Jax. Your assessment. The alien commander's scales shifted through several colors before settling on a determined blue. By all conventional analysis, this plan should fail. But humans have repeatedly defied our expectations. He straightened. The Zelnar fleet will follow Captain Carter's strategy. Then it's decided, President Chen declared. Implementation begins immediately. As the meeting adjourned, Lisa found herself walking alongside Admiral Jax. "Your species continues to surprise me, Captain," he said quietly. "In 10,000 years of recorded history, my people never considered such an approach to warfare." "Sometimes the best way to win is to change the game entirely," Lisa replied. Throughout the solar system, Earth and Zelnar ships moved into their assigned positions. The countdown to humanity's greatest challenge had begun. The Hegemony Supreme Commander Trazak stood on the bridge of his massive flagship, watching as his fleet spread out across the Jupiter orbital plane. His gray skin wrinkled in confusion. "Where are their defensive formations?" he demanded. "Scans show Earth vessels scattered throughout the system with no logical pattern." His tactical officer looked equally puzzled. "The battle computers cannot determine their strategy, Supreme Commander. The primitive humans appear to be improvising. And the Zelnar traders, similarly positioned. Some are hiding within the asteroid belt, others near Saturn's rings. None are in optimal defensive arrangement." Trazak had conquered 17 star systems in his long career. Never had he encountered such an incomprehensible defense. They must know they cannot win. This disorder suggests panic. The scout force reported unusual coordination between humans and Zelnar. His second-in-command reminded him, "Irrelevant. Begin the standard approach. All ships advance toward Earth." As the Hegemony fleet moved forward, Captain Lisa Carter watched from the UES horizon, hidden in orbit around Europa. Beside her, Commander Eric Johnson monitored the enemy movements. "They've taken the bait," Eric reported. "Main fleet advancing in standard formation." Lisa activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, Operation Thunderbolt commences in 3 minutes. Remember your targets and timing." Admiral Jax's voice came through from the stellar vanguard, positioned on the opposite side of Jupiter. "All Zelnar vessels report ready, Captain Carter." Lisa looked at Jack Wilson, who had insisted on being aboard for the battle. "Are the drive modifications complete?" Jack nodded. "Every ship has the disruption field capability. They know the risks." 30 seconds, Eric announced. Lisa took a deep breath. For Earth, for Zelnar, and for every world the Hegemony has conquered. Execute now. Throughout the solar system, Earth and Zelnar ships suddenly burst from hiding places. From behind moons, within ring systems, even from solar observation posts near Venus, vessels appeared and accelerated directly toward the surprised Hegemony fleet. "Multiple contacts," shouted the Hegemony tactical officer. "They're attacking from all vectors." Trazak watched in growing alarm as his orderly formation was thrown into chaos. Human ships darted between his larger vessels, firing precise shots at communication arrays and sensor nodes before speeding away. Zelnar cruisers executed impossible turns, their modified engines glowing with unusual energy signatures. "The battle computers cannot calculate targeting solutions," his weapons officer reported, panic evident in his voice. "The human ships are moving in random patterns." "Impossible," Trazak hissed. "No species fights without proper formation." In the heart of the battle, Lisa's plan unfolded with precision. The first phase scattered the Hegemony forces. Now came the true gamble. "All ships, execute Phase 2, she ordered. "Drive overload in 10 seconds. Throughout the battlefield, human and Zelnar engineers pushed their engines beyond safety limits. The modified cores began generating powerful disruption fields, invisible waves of energy that washed over the Hegemony vessels. Aboard the Hegemony flagship, systems began failing. Weapons targeting offline. Communication disrupted. "The quantum cores are destabilizing," reported officers in growing panic. Trazak watched helplessly as his technological advantage evaporated. His ships, unable to coordinate or target effectively, were being systematically disabled by the smaller but more maneuverable Earth Zelnar fleet. "This cannot be happening," he whispered. "They are primitives." The battle raged for hours, spreading across the Jovian system. Earth ships took heavy damage, but the hegemony fleet was in disarray. The carefully coordinated attack had succeeded beyond all expectations. In a final desperate move, Trazek ordered his remaining ships to regroup for a direct assault on Earth. But as they attempted to form up, a new threat appeared. "Supreme Commander, additional vessels detected entering the system," his sensor officer reported. "More humans?" Trazek demanded. "No, these are Freelian designs and Vorex configurations. The subjugated worlds. They're attacking us." Lisa smiled grimly as she watched the sensor readings. The messages the Zelnar had sent to other conquered species had been received. The hegemony's iron grip on the galaxy was breaking. "All ships, final phase," she ordered. "Push them back." The combined fleet, human, Zelnar, and now ships from half a dozen formerly subjugated worlds, converged on the remaining hegemony vessels. Trazek stared at the viewscreen in disbelief as his flagship was surrounded. How did primitives do this? 1 year after the Battle of Jupiter, the newly established Galactic Cooperation Council held its first formal gathering on Earth. Representatives from 27 formerly subjugated species had traveled to the blue planet that had changed the course of galactic history. Lisa Carter, now Admiral Carter, stood at the window of the Council's headquarters in Geneva, watching as alien delegates arrived. Ships of various designs and origins filled Earth's orbit, a sight that still amazed her despite everything she had experienced. "Quite a view," said Jack Wilson, joining her. His engineering innovations during the crisis had earned him leadership of Earth's Interspecies Technology Division. "Sometimes I still can't believe it all happened," Lisa replied. "One moment we're alone in the universe, the next we're hosting a galactic summit." Jack smiled. "And to think it all started with a broken-down alien fleet." The door opened as Admiral Jax entered. The Zelnar commander's scales now permanently displayed the vibrant blue of health and confidence, a stark contrast to the dull colors of their first meeting. "The council is ready to begin," Jax announced. "President Chen asks that you join us on the podium, Admiral Carter." Lisa nodded and followed him through the corridors of the massive building. Aliens of every description moved about, many nodding respectfully as she passed. The story of the human captain who had devised the strategy to defeat the hegemony had spread throughout the galaxy. The main chamber fell silent as they entered. Around a circular table sat representatives from worlds across the galaxy, some humanoid, others utterly alien in form, yet all shared a common purpose. President Chen opened the session. "1 year ago, our worlds existed in isolation or under hegemony control. Today, we gather as equals to build a different kind of future." Lisa listened as speakers detailed the progress of the past year. The hegemony, while not completely defeated, had withdrawn to its core systems. Rebellions had sprung up throughout their territory, inspired by Earth's example. Worlds that had been subjugated for centuries were reclaiming their independence. When it was her turn to speak, Lisa approached the podium with characteristic directness. "The victory at Jupiter wasn't about superior technology or firepower," she said. "It was about recognizing that different perspectives create strength. Humans approached problems in ways the hegemony couldn't predict because we hadn't been shaped by their assumptions." She gestured to the diverse assembly. "Each of your civilizations brings unique insights. The Freelians understand quantum mathematics in ways we're only beginning to grasp. The Vorex have mastered biological technologies we hadn't imagined. And humans, well, we're good at finding unconventional solutions." Admiral Jax stepped forward. "The Zelnar once believed technological advancement was the measure of civilization. Earth taught us otherwise. Your species demonstrated that adaptability, creativity, and courage matter more than the age of your technology." From the back of the room, Olivia Martinez watched with pride. The joint research projects she oversaw were producing innovations that would have taken each species centuries to develop alone. Spacecraft combining Zelnar power systems with human intuitive controls. Medical technologies merging Vorek's biological understanding with Frillian precision. After the formal session concluded, Lisa found herself on the building's rooftop garden with Jack and Dr. Martinez, looking up at the night sky, where ships from across the galaxy moved in peaceful orbits. The hegemony thought finding our stranded fleet was their opportunity to add another world to their collection, Jack said, joining them. Instead, it marked the beginning of their end. Dr. Martinez smiled. They never understood that true strength comes from diversity, not uniformity. Speaking of diversity, Jack said, checking his communications device, the Frillian engineering team has made a breakthrough with the hybrid propulsion system. They found a way to increase efficiency by another 40%. Lisa looked up at the stars, thinking of all the worlds still waiting to be discovered, all the civilizations that might join their growing alliance. I wonder what the next crisis will be, she mused. Whatever it is, Jax replied, we'll face it together. The hegemony's greatest mistake was believing that advanced civilizations must all follow the same path. Your world proved that there are infinite ways to solve a problem.